good morning. How do you do? It seems to me that a lot of you were interested yesterday in Joseph's story. I'm riding with Nana, as it happens today, and so I've decided he will tell the story, and I will tell you what I wanted to share yesterday anyway in that story. Yeah. Cool. There are many lessons to draw. One of it is polygamous situations is always a volatile situation, but that's not where I want to dwell. It's just something we can't also run away from in the story. Anyway, so if you are interested in the purest biblical, you need to go to Nana's channel. Okay, his channel is on YouTube, and you tell them what the name of your channel is and let them find it.
Biblically based.
So the channel is biblically based, and obviously there is a clue there in what the content is based on. You can go and check that. Today he's going to tell you the story, and I'm going to tell you my secular rendition of the story. So let's start from Joseph. I asked you who his parents were. Who are his parents?
So his dad's Jacob.
Wait a minute. Let me reduce the background noise. Yeah.
Okay, so his dad is Jacob, aka Israel, and his mom was Rachel. And
Okay.
so with Joseph, he was kind of like the second to last son born to Jacob.
Second to last.
He
Okay.
was the first child of Rachel herself.
Hold on a second. Let's go back to the circumstances under which Leah became the first wife and Rachel the second. Do you know it?
Yeah, so basically Jacob worked 7 years under his uncle to get what was supposed to be Rachel's hand in marriage, but then Laban, so that's the uncle, tricked him and gave him Leah instead. And
Then
so,
he had to work another 7 years
yeah,
to get this woman. So this is his beloved, isn't it?
yeah, that was his blood from the beginning.
Rachel was his beloved. Finally has a son from his beloved. Clearly, that son is going to be dearly beloved. And I don't think he could hide it at all in any way, could he?
No, not really.
He couldn't hide it. Okay. So, tell me about the sons. How many were they?
In total, there were 12 sons and 1 daughter.
12 sons and a daughter. And Jacob was the penultimate.
No, Jacob's the father. The penultimate was
Joseph was the penultimate. Okay, good. We are establishing a story. Why did the brothers throw him in the ditch in the first place?
Well, as the eldest son of Rachel, Joseph got like a pretty fancy multicolored jacket, and well, none of the other brothers really did, and so they were kind of plotting because of like the favoritism to like basically kill him, but then it was Reuben who was like, no, let's not kill him, let's actually have him enslaved instead so that his blood's not on our hands. So they kind of like got a goat's blood, took his coat off, covered it in blood to kind of like fake his death, but they just kind of like sold him into slavery.
Okay, so again, this is where the unhealthy competition rears his head. He was given a coat that suggests that he was loved more than the rest. And I'm very sure the boys were not thinking about just the love that he had more than them. They were thinking inheritance. If the father died and this was around, he would get more of, if not all of his assets. The dad will will it him. The rest of them, they were older, they've been here, they had been working for the dad for a while, and were thinking, why should we watch this? Pass on to this little one. Let's kill him. The smart one says, let's not kill him. Let's sell him to slavery instead. That way he's away from here and his blood is not on our hands. Okay, so they've made a plan. What happened next?
Well, it works. Joseph gets sold into slavery in Egypt.
So he gets sold into slavery in Egypt, and then?
And then, like, meanwhile, I guess the father's depressed because he only has his second son, and second and only son, not Rachel, with him, along with the other son, Benjamin. So yeah, Jacob basically gets depressed for a while.
His beloved son is gone. His depression is not a surprise. Okay, and then what happens?
Well, Joseph kind of like goes through Egypt. So he spent like 3 years in Egypt. Basically, God gives him like dreams and revelations to like two of the baker and the wine taster in prison. And so,
Hold on a second. So he's in prison.
yeah.
How did he end up in prison?
Well, he ended up in prison because when he was sold into slavery into Potiphar's house.
So that's the first place we start with. He arrived in Egypt in Potiphar's house as a slave. What happened?
So he works, and then like basically Potiphar's wife tries to hit on him.
He was a nice looking lad. Mrs. Potiphar decided she wanted some. And being the good lad he is, he said no. And what did Potiphar's wife do?
Well, so when Joseph ran, she basically took his cloth when she left because he should have just ran after the clothes and just left immediately. So she took his clothes, pretended, oh hey, you see these clothes you left behind? That's because he was trying to sleep with me. Potiphar got mad and he was like, you know what, I'm getting arrested for trying to sleep with my wife.
So she framed him.
Yeah.
He ran and left his robes.
Yeah.
And she took that as evidence of the fact that he had been around, which is quite compelling. So he was thrown into prison for something he did not do. I want you to listen to the story very carefully. Okay. He didn't really do much wrong himself. How he was beloved by his dad was not his fault. How his dad bought the coat for him and not his brothers was not his fault. How he ended up in Egypt was not his fault. I want you to listen to the story very well, because a lot of things happen to good people which are not their fault. And you will complain and complain, but it's usually part of the design of the grand scheme. Okay, so he's in prison. It's not his fault. What happens?
So he encounters a wine taster and a baker, both of them have dreams.
So he met people who had dreams they could not understand. Is that?
Yep.
Okay, and then what happened?
So God gives him basically the answers of those dreams, what the dreams are basically trying to say. And Joseph's like, okay, when I tell you these, can you like let Pharaoh know that you heard it through God from me? And so God didn't say yes.
So he is now wanting to give God the credit for his interpretations. Okay.
Okay, so the baker, his dream basically was going to tell that he was going to get beheaded in 3 days, so he gets beheaded. The wine taster forgets about this promise, and so some time goes later until the Pharaoh himself starts having dreams about the famines to come. So the wine taster then, when he hears that no one else is able to answer the dreams, remembers, oh hey, Joseph can. And so he gets Joseph out of prison. Joseph tells him the interpretation, and then he basically leaves prison to become basically Pharaoh's second in command.
Okay. So this is interesting. He is rotting in prison, and again, if you pay attention, there are so many of you who expect people to give a good word. The people have promised you that they will put a good word in. A friend says that they will recommend you at work. Somebody who's supposed to tell somebody about you and the person doesn't do it, your heart is broken. It happens. Anyway, in this case, this guy got his dream interpreted, and it was supposed to be in exchange for telling Pharaoh about Joseph and his ability to decipher dreams. Once he gets out, as is human nature, guess what? He's living his best life. He forgets this boy who helped him when he needed his dreams interpreted. But it's not really something to be mad about, because it was not yet the appointed time. That's the thing. It wasn't time. Even if he remembered and mentioned it initially, I don't think Pharaoh would have cared, because at that time it did not matter to Pharaoh. The time where it would matter to Pharaoh was when Pharaoh himself had the dreams, and that's when the guy remembered Joseph. And he tells Pharaoh requires his dream to be interpreted. So guess what? They go to get Joseph. What was the interpretation?
They were gonna basically just be like 7 years of like lots of food, and so
7 years of abundance, followed by
7 years of food.
7 years of famine. And in abundance, if somebody tells you that there is famine to come, then the smart thing to do would be to store grain, to keep it, because it was going to be followed by 7 years of famine. This information distinguished Egypt because the Pharaoh knew, the other rulers didn't. So what happened?
So they stored, they've got a lot of food. 7 years later, they got a huge store, and everyone else is basically coming to them for food, and Egypt's basically selling it to them because, well, they got famine themselves.
So Egypt has stored this food, and now they are in a position to sell to all their neighbors who did not have this information and did not store their food. Okay.
So they do that, and of the people coming to like buy food is basically Jacob and his 11 other sons and daughters. So basically Jacob's family.
Jacob's family comes to buy food.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Jacob sends all the sons except Benjamin.
Alright.
They go, they don't know it's Joseph, they're like, oh hey, we need food. Joseph knows it's them immediately, and basically kind of like tests them, so he gives them the food, but he also sneaks in like one of like the golden chalices into one of their sets. So once the other 11 sons leave back with, well, the 10 sons leave back with the food, they discover the chalice in the bags, and they're like worried because they're thinking, oh no, he's going to think that we stole from him, and that's going to make things look really bad in our end. And so they do that, they come back, Joseph's like, I'll forgive you for this grievance if you bring back your 11th brother also, because I know you have one more. Bring him to me, otherwise you're not getting any more food.
So they brought the chalice back.
Yeah.
Wanting more food.
Well, they wanted to just not get arrested for having the chalice just stuck into their bags.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, they didn't sneak it themselves, Joseph planted it.
Mm-hmm.
So they go back, they tell Jacob, Benjamin's going to go with us, otherwise we're not getting food. Jacob obviously doesn't want to let his last son, Jacob.
The last time he let a beloved son go with them, we all saw the outcome. Okay, so you don't blame him for not wanting to give Benjamin. Alright, what happened?
So, seeing as if they don't organ stuff, Jacob eventually relents. They send over Benjamin, and Joseph, upon seeing Benjamin, kind of like breaks down into tears because he's like, oh wow. And then he just spills the beans to the rest of the brothers that, oh hey, it was me.
So he wanted to see his baby brother.
Yeah, pretty much.
And his baby brother gets brought to him, and then he tells him he tells them who he is.
Yep.
Alright. I wanted you to hear the full story, and I want you to pick the lessons. For me, the key lessons are this. Even in God's design, as much as the outcome is already predetermined, the journey there is never really straight for the person who is on the journey. You imagine being Joseph. You were a prophecy child almost. Your dad's beloved. He was supposed to marry that woman, and he should have had just you and your little brother, really. But he gets tricked with another wife, but he still wants his wife, so he works through and he gets his wife. There's a lesson there from Jacob himself. He wanted Rachel. He was given Leah. He could have called it quits at that time, but he served a further 7 years to get what he wanted. 14 years of his life to get the woman of his choice. When he has the woman of his choice, the children he has are the distinctive children, particularly Joseph. Joseph has grown up in a good home. I'm very sure he was doted on by dad. But the other siblings would have ill feelings towards him, naturally, inevitable. His dad is there to protect him, so ultimately he will be fine. He will not be bothered. Eventually, he finds himself betrayed by his brothers. I'm very sure he would not have a problem with his brothers. He would love his brothers. So to find the brothers you love do this to you would be the ultimate betrayal. Your heart will ache. Then he sold as a slave, no less. Slave to go and work. Slave to be repaid little, to be given nothing. Slave. And he would have done that for a while before this incident with Mrs. Potiphar happened. At least as the slave in Potiphar's house, he was also better than the majority of the other slaves. So just when you are thinking, oh, it could be worse, where I am is not the worst, Mrs. Potiphar, boom, decides that she's going to do her bit. And it just seems relentless. Your bad luck. Relentless. It doesn't stop. Just when it seems to be getting better, boom. When it should improve, boom. It's getting progressively worse. That will be difficult for most people to handle. But for me, for sure, it will be very difficult for me to handle. He gets thrown into prison. And when he gets thrown into prison, he's minding his business, and then he hears these people, and I'm very sure when he interpreted the dreams, he had hope alive now that he might get out. But the hope does not seem to check out because the guy forgets him. That's the thing with these times which are appointed. They come when it is their time. They don't really predict themselves. You don't often know when the tide is to change. It's almost as if it plays a game with you. It takes you close and then it draws back. 1 step forward, 3 backwards. 1 step forward, 5 backwards. And if you are not a person of great faith, you will lose it in this process. If you are not a person of great faith and you lose faith, you will not take the further action that you are supposed to. When he was called by Potiphar finally, he could have also decided it was one of those things. I'm not willing to go. I'm tired of all this. And yes, I have been tired. I've been tired of trying. I don't know about the rest of you, and I don't know what your experiences are, but I've been tired of trying. I've been trying for so long. And I've been trying and not getting the outcomes I want for so long. I've been tired. I've been tired of trying. I've been unwilling to try anymore. When you are approaching that point, remind yourself that that's usually the turning point. When you've been tired is when your luck often finally shifts. We normally quit 3 feet from a pot of gold. That's what tends to happen. 3 feet from a pot of gold is when most of us will quit. Anyway, Joseph goes and he interprets the dream. And he is brought in. But you see, even then, it's not complete for him yet. He is now living well. But his heart will be somewhere else. He's not seen his dad for years. Not seen his mom either. I don't think the story talks about mom much. As in the culture, it was men who mattered. So the story centers around the men. If a person has a sister or a daughter, she's called sister or daughter. We often don't even get to know their names unless they are really central to a story. Anyway, his little brother, beloved little brother, has not been seen for a long time. So you see, even his victory was empty for a while. He had won. He was Pharaoh's second in command. He was living very well, but he was still an alien in this land without his people. when his people finally come, he has to be quite crafty in order to get his little brother brought to him. The lesson here for you is that it's a long journey home. It's a long journey home. Most of us want a quick trip. It's not. It's a voyage. It really is. It's a long, winding road home. If you stay on track, you will end up home. But you will end up home. You don't just turn up home. When you are persistent, when you wait, when you get home, it will be all the things you wanted. Home is worth waiting for. It really is. Home is worth waiting for, but only those who are long suffering, only those who are patient, those who know the value of home will be the only ones who are able to maintain themselves to get there. He started a business yesterday. You haven't become rich overnight. I felt hush. Some of us have been doing this approaching a decade. It's been going well, but it has not made us rich yet. We still keep going. Hush! And build. You've been trying to get progress. You've done every business there is since 1999. That is me. Been doing that. You've been making progress, small progress, just not the life-transforming one that you envisaged. Hush. You will get home eventually. You will get home. Yeah, those who came to meet you on the journey have probably made more traction than you have, according to you. Hush, hush. Each person has their own destiny. Pathways are different. You walk your path. You walk your path. You stop moaning, stop whining, stop discouraging yourself whilst you are on this journey. Your lamentations would only get in your own way. Hush. Hush. And just keep pushing. The people who will betray you are not strangers. And you see, the betrayal, as much as it seems awful at the time, think, if his brothers had not betrayed him, he would have remained a little favorite in his father's house. That's all he would have been, his father's favorite son. He would sit in his father's house and inherit his father's little stuff. That would have been it. He was betrayed so he could go bigger. Even Jesus was betrayed. He was betrayed so his destiny could be fulfilled. In a lot of things, in a lot of the breakthroughs, in a lot of turning points, there is betrayal. There is. I've told you stories of women whose husbands had betrayed them. My favorite of those stories is this woman whose husband decided that he no longer wanted to do. And he took their 3 children from her and put her on the street. Literally. She had been a stay-home mom. She had nothing to her name. She could not afford a lawyer. She could do nothing. The guy decided he was keeping custody of the kids and she needed to go. And straight to the street with her 10 fingers. That was it. That is a breakthrough moment for her when you hear the rest of the story. But on the day when her husband threw her things and put her on the street, I can tell you there was nothing to glorify. There was nothing to celebrate. There was betrayal so bitter, so painful, that she cannot describe to you. That's what she said she felt. But you see, now that the story has unfolded, you and I would say that that was a turning point. It was that which forced her to go back to school, to go and work through and get on a nursing course The nursing course was an attractive one because at least that time it attracted a bursary. She could get a bursary. And while she trained, she could get something to keep body and soul together. At this point, her children didn't even want to visit her. You know why? The children didn't want to visit because there was nothing in it for them. When she would go home to go and see the kids, she would be given a small spot to sit. The children will come and wave at her and hang around awkwardly. And you know how children are. Very soon, they were quite clear that they didn't want to come. She knew that they didn't want to come. Everybody knew that the kids did not want to come. And she cried every time she did this, to the point where she stopped going to look for the children because she realized the children did not want to see her. She stopped going to see the kids. And then she finished nursing. She got herself a job. She got herself a little 2-bedroom bungalow. That's all it was. It was a bungalow. But it was a bungalow in a cul-de-sac in an area which is rather nice. She got herself a little car. And at this time, she's thinking, well, this is it. If she had hope that her children would come, maybe she would have considered a bigger house. She had no hope the kids would come. She got herself a 2-bed. Here she is living her little life with no hope that anything was going to come. That was her turning point. One of the kids decided to attend university in her city. And when the kid decided to attend university in her city, the kid, in their infinite wisdom, realized that accommodation was a big deal. Accommodation was expensive. The kid did not want to take a loan to cover accommodation. They did not want to incur the cost. So what was convenient for this kid was to be able to go and live in mom's house to attend university. So it was the kid who recommended to dad. And they approached her and they asked if a kid could come and stay there for uni. She said, okay. Kid comes and stays for uni. Kid sees the life mom has built. Kid appreciates the life mom has built. Kid talks to the other siblings. And after a while, the other children make the effort to come visit. Initially, under the disguise of coming to see their brother. But it was really to come and see for themselves what she had built. Eventually, second child asks if he can do sixth form in mom's place because you see, by this time, dad has already found himself a new witch. New witch is having children with dad. Home is now quite hostile for these kids. It is in their interest to find somewhere to escape to. Suddenly, mom's den is a place to. But again, do you know how many years this takes? When somebody tells you these stories, you use your own brain to calculate how long nursing training is. It would have taken at least that length of time. In that length of time, when none of these things has happened, I can tell you that it would just be pain and nothing else. It would just be pain. It will be sorrow. But those who persevere, those who wait, those who don't despair, will live to tell their tales. I'm telling you that so that if you happen to be one of those people who goes on a journey like that, you understand it will take some time. And it will take some tears also. Yeah? Don't go expecting this one to be a pleasant ride. It's not. In the end, when what you want happens, it will be to God's glory in the end. But the process, oof. My boy. What's in there?
Wallet.
That thickness is wallet.
No, well, see later. Yeah?
Keep me updated, yeah? Okay. Anyway, if you want to have a Joseph story, you must remember Potiphar's wife. And you need to know how Potiphar's wife operates and be prepared for the feelings inflicted by Potiphar's wife. You will be in the wilderness. I've taken time to study so many stories. Biblical stories, secular stories, my own story, my mother's story, my dad's story. I have managed to review many stories. And the funny thing is that in all the stories, there is a period of wilderness. You will be in the wilderness for a while. There's no running away from it. You will be in the wilderness. If you didn't know that you will be in the wilderness, let me tell you that for free today. You will be in the wilderness. In the wilderness, it's a vast land. And it's difficult to know where the journey ends because you can't see any destination. It's scary to be in the wilderness because you don't know even if you are on the right track or not. There is uncertainty in the wilderness. There is confusion in the wilderness. There is loneliness in the wilderness when you are alone and you can't see anybody else. Yes, in the wilderness, it's everybody for himself, God for us all. So you expect that even if you meet people in the wilderness, betrayal will be common in the wilderness. Betrayal. Everybody's trying to survive. You will be sacrificed for somebody's meal, of course. That's their only alternative. You or them, well, it will be them. That's the only choice they can make. That's their only real choice, to be honest. In the wilderness, you will be left alone to cry. But it's better that you spend that time to think and reflect. When the tears come, remind yourself that that time is not for tears. That time is for thinking, it's for strategy. If you are able to think and strategize, you will get out of the wilderness faster. You will get out of the wilderness better. It's much better for you to leave the wilderness with something substantial. Well, the time you could spend crying is the same time you could spend building this stuff in the wilderness. I hope that these videos and others that you see convince you to work for your improvement so that when you come out of the wilderness, your win is bigger. You will not always be popular. In fact, a person who is building cannot be popular. You need to be a winner to be popular. And so until you win, it is foolish to expect popularity. You will be alone in your cell. Take you back to Joseph. When he was in prison, he was alone in his cell. Alone. But you see, when you are alone in your cell, you've got to make sure your essence is still known. I ask people all the time, Do you just turn up and become a blur? Or do you show up, turn up, and be known? Anybody who encounters you must know you. He could interpret dreams. And so even in prison, where he stood to gain nothing, he still interpreted dreams. But you also have to be smart to make sure you don't work for nothing. You tell people the condition under which you will interpret for them. I will do this for you, and all I require is that when you get a chance, you tell the Pharaoh of my abilities. It was interpreted by God through his son, Joseph. Tell them who does the work. If you don't let people know who does the work, you will be forgotten. It's happened to me. It's happened to many, many people. You do work in a team and you stand and you watch somebody take glory. Oh, you do it quietly. No, don't do it quietly. I tell you guys stories of applications where I have insisted my name was there. That was all in learning of this. You do and make sure that your works are known. But also make sure that your works are known as yours. Don't work and leave it hanging. Don't work and let people take credit. Do the work, but let it be known that it is your handwriting. These are some of the stories that I draw for myself from Joseph. And I hope that drawing those for myself has drawn some for you as well. It takes a while to win. It takes a great while to win. It's a process. And sometimes the process is so long, you don't even know when it ends. Dwell not on when it ends. Focus on the process itself and the growth you can see whilst on the journey. I am off to go and serve a shift, to earn a wage, to better my life. And I hope that what you also do today serves you to help you improve. Have yourself a phenomenal day. I shall be back in touch, most likely same time tomorrow.